I know there's going to be a lag.
Yeah, it's like on a 10 day. Okay, it is.
I know there's going to be a lag.
Yeah, it's like on a 10 one. Okay, there we go. There's the view. It is up and good to go.
I love that. So
Yes.
we'll just wait for people to like say hi and let us know they're here. We are a little bit early.
Yes. The only thing I will let you know, Ellie, is I don't know if you meant to take up names off, but names are not on the screen currently. Like our names are not the display names.
Well,
which is fine, but
I don't know how to change that, so we're rocking with it, guys. We'll introduce ourselves in a minute, in case y'all don't know.
Yes.
Okay, I have posted in the Discord that we are in fact live.
Hey, Exie.
Hi. Hello, Exie. Oh, I love your display picture, Exie. That's so cute.
Oh, it is. Okay. Oh, and Bethany, hi. And hi to Sydney.
Hey, Bethany.
You have Otto as your picture? I love it.
Wait, is that Otto? I love that.
I think so. I could be wrong.
It is Otto, I think. The wee bean.
Oh, was honestly my favorite.
Okay, so we're just going to give it a few minutes, guys, and see, obviously, who can make it. We know a few of the Canadians are driving, so can't make it, I don't think. But we'll just give it a few minutes, and then we'll start.
Also, Bethany, you are such a liar. You are totally cute enough, but, like, I'll take Otto any day.
You are definitely cute enough, Bethany. As someone who knows you in real life, I feel I can also say that, so... I love this. This is what we like to see in our first discussion.
Yes.
To be fair, there's some things I'm ready to rant about as well. I will be honest.
Yeah.
But also like some things that like I'm like happy about.
Agreed. It definitely was not what I anticipated out of my first Colleen Hoover, but I'm not like horribly mad about it.
Yeah, that's
we love you too, Bethany.
We love you too.
True.
One day, Exie, I am going to find a romance book that you in fact love.
Maybe it will be September's read. Who knows?
I know. I think September read. Also, we can just make sure everyone is aware of what September read is going to be at the end. But I think September reads is going to be good. I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Good.
We appreciate that you did not want to miss the first book of the month. We appreciate that.
Yes, absolutely.
So obviously, as you guys can probably tell, just any comments and things you have, just stick them in the comments box. And then obviously I flash them up on the screen so we can see like, you know, what everyone's vibing with the questions. Oh, I also loved Yes, No, Maybe So. That was a great book in my opinion. I think I gave it like 4, maybe 4.5 stars. No, actually, no, I gave it 5 stars because there was one bit that actually made me like want to cry from happiness. And any book that actually manages to make me like cry is 5 stars.
Fair.
Yeah, I did love that. I think I still have it on my shelf, actually. It's one of those ones I don't want to get rid of.
Right. Well, I think we may be good to go ahead and just introductions. I'm guessing you're going to keep this up on the channel in case anyone wants to watch it after if they've missed it.
Yeah, no, totally will do. Keep it on the channel. Okay. So hi everyone. Welcome to the first Reading with Friends book club discussion live on YouTube. So in case anyone doesn't know, I'm Ellie. I'm one of your hosts. And my absolute favorite genre of reading is romance, which is why for my birthday month in September, Kaylin very nicely said that we can make the genre romance. And yeah, I'm 24 in September, and I live in Aberdeen, Scotland.
Ooh. Fantastic. Yes, I did let her pick romance again, because we didn't really intend to go for a romance. We just went like contemporary this month, and that's just kind of what happened. But I'm Kaylin. I am also one of your hosts of the book club, if you don't know and you are finding this. I am 26 in October, and my favorite genre is probably fantasy and contemporary, but my favorite holiday is Halloween. So stay tuned for what October is going to be, because we're also doing a fun little thing in October for birthdays for Ellie and I, because they're like 2 weeks apart, which was crazy when we found that out. So yeah, I think that's all I've got.
Okay,
you want to go ahead and
I said let's just get straight into the questions. Why not? So I'm just gonna stick them in here and then just pop them on the screen. So if you guys just type it out, let us know. Overall, I gave the book personally 3.75. I think to be fair, I was being a little bit generous with that, but definitely between 3.5 and 3.75 for me.
Right. I agree. I think I gave it a 3.5, but if you look on Goodreads, it's a 4, because I was like, I'm going to be nice, because, I will accept my feelings towards generally when I start a new book, not really loving the first book I read by an author. But 3.5 was also generous for me, because I have strong opinions on some things that happened.
I'm an absolute savage, because in my opinion, so on Goodreads, this is why I really like Storygraph actually, because you can put half ratings. But on Goodreads, I never up my rating. I always lower it, because in my opinion, you've not done enough to get a 4 star, so you ain't getting a 4 star from me. Yeah, it's better than 3 star, but it's not good enough for it to ever be etched on my profile as a 4 star. So right. I was but in answer to your question, Sydney, it was my first one, and Kaylin, was it yours?
Yeah, it was also my first, which is why I will give that I have opinions when I first read a book by an author, especially when it's so hyped up and I have such high expectations. So I'm hoping I'll read a couple more, Colleen Hoover books, enjoy them, and then maybe reread this one and appreciate it more.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely want to read other ones. So, oofed. That is a low rating. I'm hoping with some of the questions we've asked, by the end we'll know why that's so low for you, Exie. If there's anything we've missed that you're like, no, but this is why, at the end just holler, just let us know. I've got 4 out of 5 from Bethany. Love that.
Yes.
And then so yeah, that's quite high actually. 4 out of 5. It's not bad. Mm-hmm. I'm excited. It's funny. I'm excited because Exie, you obviously was very low, so I'm excited to see what some of your responses to the questions are going to be. But then on the flip side, I'm excited to see what yours are going to be, Bethany, because I feel like you guys have got such contrasting ratings. Sydney, I don't know if you want to give a rating. I know in the Discord you were kind of you hadn't quite given it a rating, so fair enough if you don't want to give it a rating.
And then I'm gonna go ahead, Ellie, and put the next question in. We can just kind of go back and forth on posting them if you want to do that.
Okie dokie. See, I really like this question because I was I think the general consensus from people are probably going to be similar, but you hear about Colleen Hoover and you hear about people crying your eyes out, and you do think I thought it was going to be a lot more traumatic, and also yes, like darker somehow. And I read dark romance books. Like I'm in a dark romance book club, so I definitely knew it wasn't going to be that. But yeah, I was expecting something maybe more, I guess, traumatic, or yeah, just maybe like a little bit on that darker edge, I guess. Also, feel free to use spoilers, guys, because like, you know, we've all read the book, so souls, but this is a spoiler zone. So if you've not read Coho Ugly Love, do not continue.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I said this in the Discord. Don't ask me why, but for some reason I thought it was about a plane crash. So I was sorely disappointed when the
pilot. So I guess like that would have made sense if that had been the traumatic experience.
Right. I think that was what I was expecting, was some sort of plane crash or something. I don't know why. There was one, wasn't what I wanted. I was like, there is no emotional pull on this. We don't even know anyone that was on the plane. So my
I forgot about that. I mean, that random plane, like.
Yes. Oh my God, is my brother there? Is Miles on the plane? But Miles is literally across the street, like across the hall. So yeah, my expectations were super duper high because everyone else that's read it has loved it. And it just was not, it did not make me cry. I did not feel for it the way a lot of people did.
That's fair. 1 second, I'm just gonna load I did, obviously, Sydney, I saw, obviously, you don't rate books, but you are more aligned with XC's rating than Bethany, which is fair. Yeah. Hey, we all know I'm highly critical of books, yes. Okay, so Bethany, you were expecting to be emotionally devastated, but I came out the other side and it's absolutely iconic because same. Right. I also, like, all you ever hear about Colleen Hoover is just crying your eyes out. So I also feel that. And I just, yeah, I find that absolutely hilarious that that's the goal, because that's so relatable. Yeah, I also thought I was gonna be emotionally damaged by it. So that's funny. And so I love, Sydney, how you've said you're easy to please, but you've hardly read romance. So maybe I'll recommend you some books, Bethany.
Yeah.
we'll see what you end up reading.
Yes, absolutely.
Let's see. I've heard people call it a questionable favorite or problematic, so that kind of gave me expectations of a problematic relationship. That's fair. Do you know what's really interesting, though? Actually, I just thought about this when you were talking about being emotionally devastated. I feel like the US cover of this book with the, like, water bubbles, which obviously we all know what that represents now, actually does make it feel a lot more like you're going to be emotionally damaged. Like, that looks like a darker book than, say, the British cover. Let me just pull it up for you, because the British cover is just, like, not damaging whatsoever. Like, it's just it's just like a typical, I guess, maybe, like, easy romance with your stereotypical, like, there's a Ferris wheel in the background. I don't know why there's a Ferris wheel, because I don't think there was a Ferris wheel in this book at all.
Definitely wasn't.
You look at this cover and you don't think that bad a thing's gonna happen, whereas I feel the US cover, it's like up for debate on whether it's gonna be devastating or not.
Right.
And I honestly found a lot of it fine. The ending with the resolution of the relationship and episode felt cheesy in a really bad way. Okay, fair. See, we are gonna get to this question at the end. But yeah, I feel the ending for me, though, was like what made it 3.75 instead of like 3.25. But we are gonna get to the ending in one of our questions, so I'll just leave that for a second.
Yeah.
But let me share with you guys the next. I'm very interested to see y'all's opinion on this next question, because I think there was kind of mixed feelings in the group chat. So did you find the perspective of Miles being in the past a hindrance or a help to the story? Kaylin, do you want to answer first?
Sure. So The thing is I definitely think that the background was needed. We needed to know about Rachel. We needed to know about why he was so traumatized and didn't want a relationship. But I don't think that it constituted like 30 of the 35 chapters of his, which is an over explanation of how many there were. But I don't think it needed that many. I think you could have done it in like 6 chapters, made the other chapters about how he's currently feeling, because I am, as if you've heard me say it before, I'm very into character-driven books, and I just feel like we got all of his past and nothing about now, and that's probably why I wasn't so in love with the book, because I was not emotionally attached to him by any means.
Yeah, so the only way I feel I can describe this is obviously with like major spoilers. So here comes the major spoilers of this book. Basically, because I agree with you, I think his past, and I did like the way his past chapters were written in that sort of poetic structure. Obviously, it wasn't like rhyming or anything, but obviously it did make his chapters were obviously shorter and they did go quicker. But I do definitely feel, because they were in the past, I just did not emotionally connect with Miles at all. I definitely agree. We could have had that backstory in like 5 chapters. We did not need every single one of his chapters apart from the, what was it, like the last 3 maybe, to be in the past, especially because, and again, this is where the major spoiler come in. By the time you knew that Rachel was pregnant, you obviously knew, because of Tate's future chapters, that he did not have a kid. So you knew obviously something happened to this kid. And at certain points it's like, okay, is she maybe going to not go to full term with the baby, with the pregnancy? Is that kind of what the damage is? And then obviously you have the chapter where she goes into labor, so you know that something terrible is going to happen. And obviously he did unfortunately end up losing his baby in the car crash in the lake. But because you just knew something like that was going to happen, because you had like 30 chapters up until this, or I know that's an over-exaggeration, but like, his whole lot of the chapters have been building up to this. It did not impact me emotionally at all. Like, I was not invested in that traumatic experience of his at all, which also I think wasn't helped by the structure of the writing, because maybe this is just me personally, but I think for me it would have had way more of an impact if it had literally said something like the oncoming car was coming too fast, like the headlights were too bright. It was kind of done a little bit whimsically. You knew a car was coming at them because they mentioned like bright headlights, but it was all then sort of poetic about like the water and the flooding, and it wasn't just oh shit, we're literally submerged in a river or a lake or whatever it was. The car is sinking. My newborn son and girlfriend are in the back, and like someone's not gonna make it out of here. That kind of took away the impact for me. So personally, I think all of his chapters, bar like the last 3 being in the past, for me was just a hindrance.
Yeah.
Like, personally. Okay, so you guys have had time now. Okay, so Anushka, you were more into the past rather than the present. That's interesting. Do you maybe like want to let us know why? Is it because like you didn't like gel with Tate maybe? Because obviously her chapters were the ones that were in the present, or like, why did you feel like that? The Miles chapters were the only thing that kept me going, honestly. I hated how they were written, but they were at least slightly interesting. Also was dreading what was going to happen. Yeah. So I think that it was very interesting because like I said, you knew something was going to happen. But yeah, I think I do love that they were the only thing keeping you going.
Yeah.
I do, yeah, they were slightly, and I did like the writing structure for the fact that it made it go quick, but I do think it took some of the impact, especially from that scene with the car crash. I think it took the impact out.
I agree.
Sydney, I think I would have enjoyed the past chapters more enjoyable if Rachel had more of a distinct personality. I actually like the gimmick. I really actually the chapter from Rachel's perspective, I really enjoyed that one chapter. And I do agree, if like she really didn't have much of a personality. It was all very much how Miles sort of like saw her as this like magical being, almost like this boy was low-key obsessed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Bethany, at first a hindrance because it felt disconnected being so far in the past, but the more we found out, it made sense. I do agree with that. But Tate, we are closed off from him for most of the story, so I felt that worked. Yeah, so you kind of brought this up on Discord as well, and I think Stasia, who had read the book already, brought it up as well. And I did think it was a pretty good point about how, because Tate herself is so closed off from Miles, because he's literally like, we are only sleeping together and that is it. Do not like come at me with any emotions here. It was it kind of worked only having his perspective from the past, because we also were shut off from him in the exact same way that Tate was. So yeah, I feel like I have mixed feelings. Like Bethany, that point totally makes sense to me, but also I'm like, the one scene that I feel should have wrecked me didn't, and I think it's because of the build-up of his like characters in the past.
Agreed.
And I like the concept of the flashbacks, but because Miles feels like nothing in the modern day, it made it difficult to like the main story. Okay, that's cool. And also Rachel just felt like a non-person. So that, yeah, so there are a few people obviously saying Rachel just didn't seem to have like personality or like a non-person. I feel like she was almost Rachel. I feel like, you know, if I knew how to like analyze books in technical terms, I feel like Rachel definitely signifies something. Like she definitely, I feel like she's put on such a pedestal. She must signify something deeper than just
right. But I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is, but it's fine.
Oh my goodness.
That's okay, Cindy. We appreciate that you are joining us.
Yes.
Even though you are packing for school, which I hope you have a great day at. Yeah, he was. So Miles was completely obsessed after just seeing her once. Insta love to the max.
I think that's the thing that killed me. Is at the very beginning of the book, I was like, this is the storyline we're going with. This is what we're doing. Okay, I can, and I was like, okay, if we get character development, I can do this. Like, I can be here for insta love. And then she did just seem like a very like, it was like a name. But to be fair, Tate did not live her, and I think that was, you know, that was an ongoing thing. Like, yeah, I was frustrated Rachel didn't, but like no one had a personality in this book.
Yeah, so okay, so like thing is for me, and I think Charlie actually brought this up in the Discord chat whilst we were all reading it, which I think was like quite an interesting point. As like as a 16-year-old, were they like 16 to 17, I think, when they first met?
17, because they would have graduated at 17 or 18.
Okay, so like 17, like to be fair, when you like do see someone that you instantly like feel a connection to at the age of 17. I say at the age of 17, it still happens to me at like 23, so like let's not go there. But like when you feel that instant, especially at that age, I do feel like instant love is such a thing at that age. And so I guess I kind of understand that he like instantly was like, oh wow. I do think obviously I cannot speak fully on this concept, not being one myself. But I did feel the only thing that maybe like didn't feel real about it for me is my experience with like 17-year-old boys when I was in fact 17. I feel like when they see a girl, they really like that they really like fancy, like they think they're gorgeous. Like this boy talked about her being like beautiful and being like the most beautiful like girl ever, but I feel like there would have been more sort of physical, chemical, maybe slightly more vulgar terminology that a 17-year-old boy internally would have thought about this girl in an insta love situation. But I guess Miles was kind of, I guess, quite mature for his age as well. Also, hi, Charlie. That's okay. If you want to let us know, Charlie, your overall rating for the book, that's pretty much, we literally, overall rating, and like how Miles's chapters being in the past were either a hindrance or a help.
Yeah.
Also, Alexandra, hi. I'm glad you managed to find time between driving.
Yeah.
So you really loved all of it. Miles acted like a butthole towards her, but at the same time, when you think you don't deserve love, I see where he can come from since he is such a passionate person. That's fair. Also, you love how Miles' chats were. Yeah, to be fair, I do love the way they were written. I just think there definitely could have been less of them, personally.
Yeah.
And oh, I love this. Yes, Ellie, I can totally relate to love at first sight with my husband. You were 13 years old. Fair enough. I mean, we love an instant love in real life situation. The part that they were okay. So XC, you've jumped it onto the next question.
Yes, so I'm gonna put that up in a second. So we'll come back.
We'll come back to this comment, XC. But you would call feelings like that infatuation, obsession, not love. I mean, fair. Miles's thoughts on Rachel were maybe the text message he sent his friend. Totally, I feel like relatable to 17-year-old boys, but also was a little bit odd. That was a bit odd.
Agreed.
And then Sydney, you're saying, I almost want to say Tate and Rachel as blank slate so that the reader can project onto them. Like people say that about Bella from Twilight too, but she had a lot more personality. Yeah. I feel like, that's quite I think a lot of people brought this up in the Discord as well. They did feel like Tate's character especially was quite superficial. And yeah, by the end of it, I think someone mentioned this in the Discord, that by the end of it, you still didn't really know anything about Tate apart from the fact that she fell in love with Miles, which is fair, and that she was a nurse. Obviously, that's all we scratched on that surface. But I don't know. I don't know if that makes me feel like I can connect more to her or less. I'm like you, Kaylin. I quite like having a character that I can character that I can actually see in the book. The author has told me exactly who they are. I can feel that development.
Right.
And then I love that 17-year-olds are not thinking about babies when they see someone for the first time. I think that's what I was feeling, that vibe too. And then Charlie, because your rating was 2 out of 5, found it being in the past to be a hindrance, because you got his backstory is important, but you felt like spending so much time on it took away from his relationship with Rachel. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I
agree.
No. Yeah, I think overall, I think there's maybe there's pros and cons to both of them, I think. Caitlin, do you want to stick the next question up, since I think
it's there and good.
Exie touched upon it.
Yeah, no, it's there and good to go.
Okay. It's not coming up on mine.
Oh, well, I just posted it. I don't know if the chat might also be slightly on a delay, because I know it took a second for it to pop up. Either way, while we're waiting for it, I guess I'll go ahead and read the question for you guys. So how did you feel the step-sibling / lovers subplot impacted the story? Did you find it necessary for the story? So, I don't know where the comment is, but I guess, Ellie, if you want to try to repost it. Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. And obviously, Exie, you kind of touched upon this. So I'll just bring that one up. So you felt like the part they were step-sibling added absolutely zero to the story. I wouldn't even mind a story kind of exploring it, but it was just thrown in there for no reason whatsoever. I mean, yeah. I don't know. For the... I feel like... Yeah, I definitely didn't feel it was necessary for the story. Especially because the anger from, Lisa and his dad wasn't really explored either. I could totally understand the step-sibling trope if, there was quite a significant look into how that would impact the family and their sort of overall life, but that really wasn't explored. So I also feel like it was not necessary. And Yeah, it didn't really impact the story for me because honestly, as soon as his dad sat him down and said, "I'm basically introducing you to the woman I'm dating," I'm like, "Lol, that is so gonna be her mom." Like, I was instantly when she opened the door, I was like, Rachel's gonna be standing behind her. So
Yeah.
like, I don't think it impacted the story for me because I saw it coming a mile off.
Right. I agree. I don't think that it impacted the story. I guess fine, like if you wanted to do it, which, this is kind of jumping the gun to the next question, so like I have opinions, but I don't think it impacted the story. I think you could have gotten the same thing and maybe even more out of it if Rachel would have just been some random girl from school that he didn't have any other kind of relationship with, because the relationship with his dad and Rachel's mom was like not really developed very much in the book. And then I think the other thing that really got me about it was like, yeah, they're angry, but they're angry for all of like maybe 2 paragraphs. And then, oh my God, everything's great. You have this baby and everything's fantastic and magical. And like, that's not really how things like maybe in some families, but I'm pretty sure that's not how things work in the real world. They had 0 consequences for anything. So I just think it was stupid. Like it didn't add, I think it was probably supposed to add some part of emotional impact and like morally, like this is wrong, make you feel for them in some way thing, but it did not do that for me.
Also, fun that you said, obviously, like, that was I think the point when his dad punched him after they told him. That was the point that I put on the Discord. I'm pretty sure the only character I actually like at this point is Dylan, because at least Dylan admits he's a sleazy, cheating asshole to his wife. Like, for everyone else, I was like, his dad is literally picking like his stepdaughter over his son. Like, that did not sit well with me at all when his dad punched him.
Agreed.
And also, obviously, the fact that them obviously having the baby and then obviously the car crash with the baby dying, like that actually caused a huge impact on obviously the dad and Lisa's relationship. Obviously they like split up, and that's never explored until right at the end when Miles is all like, "Let me tell you all about myself. My dad married a woman he worked with a year ago." It's like, oh, so that relationship ended and it just wasn't talked about again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Which, random question on this, because, step siblings lover thing. I thought that they actually got married in the book, but then the way that some people were discussing it, like his dad and her mom never got married. Did they ever end up, didn't they go to Vegas and like elope?
Yeah, they went to Vegas and got married, yeah.
Okay.
So, Alexandra, you said, honestly, you found it odd. You've read more weird stuff before. Girl, same. We're in the same Dark Reads book club. I kind of feel like it was thrown in there for you're not sure what purpose. Maybe so Miles and Rachel had more of a dramatic connection. Yeah. Again, I think most of us didn't see the point. Exie, you obviously found it predictable. Charlie, you were really expecting there to be social consequences affecting their relationship, like it coming out Miles is dating his stepsister at school and people think it's weird. I agree. Obviously, I think it's so random that nothing else came from that, apart from the fact that his dad punched him instead of like taking his side, but he took like his stepdaughter's side instead. So I agree. The fact the consequences were so minimal made it feel really unnecessary. Anna, it felt super unnecessary to me. It felt like it was just for shock value and it added nothing to the themes, wasn't explored fully. A ton of other forbidden romance plots would have been better. Agreed.
Yes, agreed 100%.
And Bethany, kind of echoing everyone here. At first, I was like, how is this gonna go? Oh dear. But yeah, it really never, it didn't have any consequences. It was never explored, so it fell flat. I think like on that one, we're actually all agreed that we were all a bit like, what was the point? Like, and also the thing is, and obviously we talked a little bit about this in the Discord. I think I talked to Charlie about it, saying, I watched Home and Away, the Australian soap, when I was younger, and there was these 2 adopted children, who obviously adopted by the same mom, but obviously like completely unrelated, who dated. So like for me, it didn't feel that strange. And like, I don't think it's that taboo because they really obviously were not related at all. But I can imagine, obviously, for some audiences, that would have been a really, like, big shock factor. But for me, it wasn't. So I was just like, oh, okay, so that happened.
Right.
But no, I'm just going to stick the next question up for y'all. So if you were someone who, so obviously, if you were someone who disliked the sibling, which is most of us,
yeah,
do you think you would have enjoyed the book more if that subplot was left out entirely? And then obviously this next question kind of is like a follow-on from that, and so like the follow-on question for that is what about if the situation happens but the characters were older? So for example, they meet at a bar, they fall in love, and then they find out their parents are actually dating each other. Like, would that have made you like the book more and the step sibling trope more? But yeah, let us know.
okay.
Exie is straight in there being like, no.
yeah. I mean, I think the thing is since it wasn't explored, I definitely probably would have enjoyed it more if it would have been left out and we could have put something else towards character building in there or a different scenario. But if it was gonna be left in, I would have been fine with it being there. I thought it was dumb, but I would have been fine with it being in the book had it been explored for longer than like a couple chapters randomly written in like a poetry style that really didn't give you any context. Personally.
Yeah, I think so. Okay, I think despite the fact that obviously I said it didn't really have an impact on me because, like I said, as soon as the dad sat Miles down and said, "Oh, I'm dating someone," I was like, "Lol, that's gonna be Rachel's mom." So as much as I completely saw it happening, I think if it had obviously happened like when the characters had been older, you know, they met at a bar kind of thing, I think it maybe would have had slightly more impact then for me. But again, I wouldn't have found it taboo or anything like that, because like to me, like these people ain't related in the slightest. Like it ain't that taboo to me.
Right.
And so yeah, so like if it had happened when they were older, it maybe would have had a bit more impact because like I said, I saw it kind of coming a mile off. Would it have made me feel enjoy the book more if it was entirely left out? Probably no, because it just didn't have an impact on my rating really. Like the step sibling trope wasn't what made me rate it lower. So for me, I don't think it would have made a difference.
Right. And then in terms of if they aged up, I think Charlie and I had talked about this in the Discord. I forgot until it was like reiterated again how young the characters actually were. I really did think this happened like later in life. So I probably would have preferred them been older, met at a bar, because again, it was so not explored that I don't find a problem with it anyway, because they're not related. It is what it is. They were close enough to being adults. But yeah, I agree. If you're gonna do it, I would have liked them to have been a little bit older and it been more explained.
Yeah, that's fair. So Alec, you're saying, yeah, not really. It would have had the same effect for you. This is a good point from Exie. It's hard to say because it would have been an entirely different story. That is fair. I just know personally the things that bothered me about this book, it wouldn't have mattered how Rachel and Miles knew each other. Because to be honest, that wasn't the thing that lowered the rating for me personally.
Right.
Alec, you agree with Kaylin? If it was explored more, then yeah, maybe. Anna, yeah, so you would have liked it more, especially if it meant the book focused more on the fallout of the baby's death and the relationship crumbling. In your opinion, it would have been more devastating and justifying to the title. So this isn't one of the questions that we kind of came up with, and I didn't think about it until you made this comment, to be fair, Anna. But I did think there was some very obviously cliche lines put in the book to purely, I wonder if she had the title planned first or the manuscript, because there's some very obviously convenient lines where they're very much like, ugly love, ugly love. And it's like, oh, I wonder why the book's called Ugly Love. And yeah, I kind of agree. The fact that I loved Rachel's chapter that kind of showed, I guess, really Miles. It's the first chapter where you see that Miles like how badly affected, I guess, from his present tense like train of thought he is affected by it. But yeah, I think I also would have liked more. And again, I think that comes down to if they had covered the whole Miles and Rachel meeting to the baby's death in less chapters, they then could have focused more of Miles's chapters on like what happened after the car crash. Sydney, do you think you would have found it more boring unless it was replaced with another forbidden romance or something? I think them being older would have also maybe feel totally fair. Because it wouldn't have been taboo at all and it would have just been kind of quirky. That's fair, yeah. Actually, I really couldn't care less about the step sibling thing. They're not related, not doing anything illegal, not hurting anyone. So just don't really care. Yeah, that, I mean, fair, same. Like, it didn't shock me. I was a bit like, okay. And either way, I don't like the step siblings or incest because I have a stepbrother. Fair. Who don't know because our respective parents met when we were like 19, 20. But you do consider him kin, which is fair. I obviously don't have that situation. If I did, I would probably also feel differently. But yeah, I don't have that.
Well, and I think with that depends on how you personally feel about them. Because, like, I don't have a stepbrother, but I have a stepsister, and I don't see her as any sort of relationship to me at all because we don't get along. So, like,
yeah,
if it was the other way and we didn't get along, and it
yeah, I think also the circumstances surrounding the whole step part, because obviously we learn that his dad wasn't like technically cheating on his wife, like Miles's mom, because they kind of like agreed that like it was fine. Like they had obviously kind of made that deal when she died, like while she was sick. But obviously for like a good part of the book, you're sat there thinking Miles's dad cheated on his mom with Rachel's mom. So you're kind of a bit like, this doesn't feel like a very good relationship anyway. And yeah, I think like if they'd maybe if maybe like they had been step siblings for years and then something happened, I definitely would feel totally different.
Yeah.
But yeah, Exy, same as me, your rating has nothing to do with step sibling stuff. Bethany, you enjoyed it mostly for Tate, who you've led to follow throughout the book. And do we even read about Miles telling Tate this? So if it, oh my god, that's a good point.
Yeah.
We never see him tell Tate, oh, by the way, the baby was, like, with my not even stepsister anymore, because I think, obviously, the mum and dad, like, broke up instantly after the baby's death, but that's a good point. I had not thought about that, Bethany, at all.
I had more.
Damn, okay. Even though we don't interact much, this is your stepbrother, obviously, I presume, Anna. That's fair though. I think like because it's more personal, like personally you can experience it. I'd probably feel the same way if I actually had a stepbrother who I like looked at as my brother. But I think I guess when they first obviously kissed, even when they first I guess got pregnant, by the time they told their parents they were pregnant, I think she was like 2 months along by then, 2-3 months. So the parents hadn't even been like married. The parents got married and then they told them at the same time. So like, you know,
right. And I feel like if they would have told their parents, which is a whole other thing, maybe the parents wouldn't have gotten married in the first place.
Yeah, that's true. I know, like, so. I mean, when you like this book definitely is lacking some honest and open communication. But I mean, what's to be expected? So yeah, Exy, you have opinions about the whole mom and dad staying together. Okay. Well, I think that kind of is covered with like the last question we asked. So hold on to those opinions. So we're now delving more into like the Miles and Tate relationship. So the next question is, how did you feel about Tate and Miles's rules, and did you think they were fair to each other? I'm gonna straight up say it. I think like I'm not normally one that, because I am a hopeless romantic, but like Miles couldn't have been, I think, fairer or like more respectful if he tried. He straight up told her, these are my 2 rules. They're the only 2 rules I'm giving you. And it is like, don't ask me about my past and do not expect a future. Like I feel like he was so clear. And I obviously understand later on in the book when like the relationship starts to crumble, Tate, I think at one point says, you know, you haven't like just been sleeping with me for months now, like you've been like connecting with me. That's fair, but like I think Miles was like fair, because at the end of the day, I don't know what I can say live on YouTube, but they were basically friends with benefits. Like, so I think like Miles like was honest about the fact that that was all they were gonna be, and I don't think I think that's fair because he was honest about it. Tate, however, oh my god, if the fact that straight away, I think there's one line where she's like, "Oh, I don't want to follow those rules, but I will just so I can be with him." Girl,
Yeah.
you aren't on the same page. You aren't in the same chapter. You're on a whole different book. Like, you can't be going into a friends with benefit relationship where you set these rules, literally thinking, "Oh, that's fine. Obviously, in 6 months he'll change his mind." No,
Right.
so, I for one was not on the girl's side. I was fully on Miles's side here.
Okay, so if you would like to pop XC's comment up, and I'll read that because it kind of goes along with like my opinion on this. Okay, so XC said, if you're going into a relationship with a set of rules like this, it's a huge red flag to me. And I'm gonna like say that I totally get where you're coming from. Now, being someone who has had conversations with people before that border on this of like, it's not a relationship and we're all very clear that like this is what it is. I thought Miles was great. Miles set all his boundaries. He was a good little bean. He did everything he needed to do. Tate was the dummy who was like, yes, let me not care. I'm going to change him.
Yeah,
I'm
so
going to
Anna,
make him love me.
Anna, you're saying your problem with Tate, just continue going, but I can change him. Agreed.
Yes.
My problem was definitely with Tate.
Right, and I don't see, the thing is I don't see going into the relationship with those rules as the red flag. I see the blaring red stop sign, the Tate not understanding that like you can't go into that expecting to change him.
Yeah, no, so I definitely agree. So obviously in relation to like your comment, Exy, for me, like I agree. I don't think, cause obviously, that's the thing. Like, this is fair. It wasn't a relationship, it was a friend's benefit thing. Just say, hey, I'm not ready for a relationship, but do want sex. I do think though, like having like rules is quite maybe like a little bit not controlling, because like you both agree to it. It's not one well, Kate said she agreed. But I do think I think it's healthy. Like, I think that's like, okay, I say it's a good dose of communication. Obviously, Miles was not communicating fully at all. But, like, he set that standard and he was like, look, like, don't expect anything from me. And it was all Tate being all like, nah, it's fine. I can change him. I'm like, no, I honestly, this is one of the first romance books I've read in a while where like the female main character just drove me up the wall. Like, I could not sympathize with her, except from the fact that obviously I kind of like know what it's like to go into a relationship with someone that obviously like maybe you really like them. So obviously you hope it goes somewhere in the future, which I think guest star from Nugget.
Yes, we have guest of Nugget here. She has all the opinions on Tate.
So like, I think it's fair enough hoping that maybe, like, you know, if you get into a relationship with someone that you've agreed to only be friends with benefits with, and then you do find yourself sort of catching feelings, and naturally you're gonna hope that, oh, maybe like in a while, maybe this will become something. I think that's fair enough. I think that's very human. But knowing straight from the start that you're not okay with friends with benefits, but agreeing to friends benefits on the ground that you think you can like change his opinion, nah, like that's not fair on either of you.
Well, I think what killed me was that Tate didn't even have rules. She never even set rules. So,
yeah,
like,
and I think her rule was so stupid because when she finally set it, I was like, girl, this boy's been giving you false hope for like weeks now.
So right, what are you talking about?
Knowing fine well you actually do want him to give you false hope.
And you're giving yourself false hope from the beginning of this.
Yeah, she should have set her own rule. Don't give myself false hope.
Yeah.
That would have been a better rule today.
Yeah.
But anyway, sorry, Alex, you don't think friends benefits relationships ever actually work out? I mean, I could probably agree with you on that one. So I totally agree that Miles was honest and was straight to the point instead of leading her on. Agreed. Charlie, to be honest, because Tate is such a shallow characterization, I don't understand why she was putting herself through this. It just made her seem like she was completely emotionally inept.
Here's the thing.
I don't disagree.
Yes, give me the character development. Tell me how she's feeling in the whole situation. Give me some emotion, and maybe I'll care why she was putting herself through this and thinking that she could do this. But without that information, what was the point?
Yeah, I definitely agree, because her, like you said, because it was such a shallow characterization, I didn't feel any sympathy for her. I was just like, nah, you knew what this was. You've set yourself up to fail here. When someone is damaged like Miles, Tate was obviously expecting way too much, and the change needs to start within. You can't just change someone. Agreed. Yes. One of my mom's favorite sayings, and I love it, and I say it to all of my friends too, and I'm like, oh, my mom says this to me, is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. And I feel like that is so true when it comes to like relationships, and especially like mental health, like, you know, things like PTSD, especially like things like that. Like they could, like, unless they want to get help and start that journey themselves, it ain't happening no matter what you do. But, you know, it's fine. That's why we read romance, guys, because life sucks. we want them to change it. Miles is also very touchy-feely for yeah. Although, okay, so this is the thing. I like the first time they slept together in his apartment. I like, okay, the thing is, for me personally, like, aftercare does not just apply to someone you're in a relationship with. If you're gonna be a mature adult with your friends with benefit relationship, you should also be covering, like, you know, things like aftercare. And the fact that he just expected her to get dressed and leave her apartment, that did bother me, because I was like, you need to at least have some communication that that's what you expect when the sex is done. Like, if you'd had that conversation, that's fine. But like, he very much was, I got the impression anyway that he was very much just lying there, like, when are you gonna get time to go, let's go.
Yep.
And I wasn't okay with that, because I do, like, if you're gonna be grown up enough to have a friends benefit relationship that you like set your 2 rules for, like, you should be talking about everything. So yeah, there was some scenes I think that he was like really cold, but then, like I said, there was others that he did get quite like touchy-feely, and then instantly realized he was being too emotional, so like pulled back, like when he said he missed her, or didn't say he missed her. You think you would get an I can fix it if Miles was more messed up? That is fair. Yeah. So
if you knew that from the beginning, maybe.
Yeah. And since we you know talked about the fact it's a friends with benefits relationship, that leads nicely onto this next question. Let's talk steam briefly. We obviously don't need to be explicit, but did you like the levels in the book? Obviously, it's a contemporary romance aimed at new adult. Did you think like the levels of steam was appropriate for the book? As the steam, I'm just gonna be like, I'm the steam queen over here. As Kaylin and also Alex can attest, if the steam levels ain't right, I'm out of here.
Yep.
I felt like it was like, for me, there was some chapters which I thought like the steam was like good, like, you know, and then there was other chapters where like the sex scene was just completely brushed over, like it properly faded to black, and I was like, either decide if you're gonna have, you know, and the steamy scenes, like, I didn't really feel like they were explicit, like, you know, it wasn't like full detail of what was going on, which kind of matched the poetical feel of the book that it had. So I think that worked fine. Like, I wasn't bothered about the fact it wasn't explicit. But I do think like you either had to have like the sex scenes be like this like mid-level of steam they were for some of them, but then the other ones just like completely faded to black. I was like, you can't have both. You got to have one or the other, because it didn't work for me really. Like, so I felt like a bit disconnected at that, because I was like, oh, okay, no, that's gonna fade to black now. Okay.
Right. I think so. I am admittedly not the steam queen over here. However, as Ellie knows, I have been listening to more steamy romance books, you know, recently.
I'm such a good influence on you.
You are, particularly after reading this, because I just did not get, I like steamy romance. I did not get what I wanted out of it. And the only scene that I had like a major problem with, and I know that we don't have this as a question, so feel free to give your opinions on this too, was when he breaks down crying in the apartment and then he calls her Rachel. And then she starts crying. He apologizes. And then she continues to just keep telling him to just stop and to just finish. Like, at that point, he should have been like, no, we're done. Like, no. Like, there should have been no continuation of that scene. And that one was the one that I was like, this would have been a perfect fade to black scene, or give me some amount of, like, to, like, show the reader it's okay to stop this if this happens.
So I feel like the only reason, like, personally, I feel that was kept in was because the parallel it then drew with Rachel the night before Rachel left him.
Okay, fair.
But like, it didn't make sense to me either. Like, neither of those well, okay, so actually, Rachel's scene, I guess, made a little bit more sense to me, because I guess in that instant, Rachel maybe, like, and again, something that wasn't quite explored, because it was quite a good, it was quite a short book, in hindsight. I think, obviously, the Rachel scene where she was all like, oh, just finish, was because I think, obviously, by that point, Rachel had just, like, it was done. Whereas I feel like with Tate, although, like, she probably tried to tell herself, oh, okay, yeah, we're gonna be done after this, I feel like deep down she still thought they weren't gonna be done after this.
Yeah.
Like, almost like she was trying to keep it going, kind of thing, for like, oh, look at, like, I can prove that I can, like, be this for him. And I'm like, no, honey, have some self-respect.
Yes.
That ain't it.
Mm-hmm.
Exy, I don't read smutty romance, but it felt generic. You would be correct. You would. It did absolutely nothing. I mean, agreed. It is a bit generic.
Yeah.
The steam matched the book. There was appropriate level, but I expect more because, you know, dark romances mess me up. Sorry, Alex. Yeah, no. So me and Alex, so we have a dark romance book club. So we're used to, like, explicit steamy scenes. So yeah, it is funny going from, like, that to, like, fade to blacks.
So.
But yeah, I guess, the steam does match the book. I agree with that. But I didn't like that there was, like, 2 levels of it. I probably wouldn't have enjoyed it personally, my own personal taste, if it had all been fade to black. But it didn't make sense to me to be, like, half steamy, half fade to black.
So, a question you may not know the answer to, but hopefully someone does. Was this book meant to be YA, or was it meant to be adult? Because if it was meant to be YA, then it did not need to have the mix. It probably should have all been fade to black. And if it was meant to be adult, it probably shouldn't have had the fade to black at all.
So the way I kind of always look at it, and it is a little bit harder because obviously Miles's past scenes are from when he was like 17, 18. But the way I always personally look at it, new adult is really anyone sort of above the age of 18 to, like, let's say maybe like 30-ish. Depending on the type of genre, obviously, but for, like, romances, new adult is, like, like 18 to 30, when you are basically yourself becoming, like, a new adult. So for me, this was a new adult book. Like, if it had been young adult, like, they definitely would have, I think, had to fade to black all of the scenes.
Right. Okay. That's all I wanted to know, was just make sure we were clarified on what it was supposed to be.
I absolutely love, though, Exy, that you're saying if the book was plenty long enough for you, and if it had been any longer, you wouldn't have made it through. Anna, Tate and Miles never felt like they had any kind of chemistry, in your opinion, and I found their physical description so forgettable. Yes, but do you know the one thing, though, for me that didn't make any sense was the UK cover that I showed you guys earlier. The guy on the cover is straight up a brunette. But the only thing I remember from the physical description of Miles was that he had, like, dirty blonde hair, and I'm like, the boy on the cover is straight up dark brunette. What is this? What is this cover casting? Because it's bad. But yeah, I agree. I honestly could not tell you what Tate is supposed to look like at all. I think she has dark hair. That's about it.
Yeah.
So I agree. Exy says, yeah, it's meant to be a new adult.
Awesome.
Charlie, don't know about level scene, but I thought the scenes themselves were boring. I agree. The name young adult is also just weird because it's often 12 to 16, 18 an age range, which are most definitely not adults. Yeah. So I don't know if it applies in like other bookshops, but one of the main bookshops here in the UK, Waterstones, they have a teen fiction section and then also a young adult. So like here, the teen fiction would be like your sort of 12 to maybe like 15-year-olds, and young adult would be more specifically like 15 to 18, and then obviously 18, like I said, to 30, and like your more like steamier romances especially, and also I guess some of like the like fantasy romance books like Sarah J Maas and that. They would be like more like young adult or new adult. But yeah, here we have like in the shop they have like a teen fiction section, because I agree, like 12 to 16-year-olds for me are not like 12 to 15 to me is not young adult. Like you are straight up a teenager. You are still a child.
Agreed.
Okay, so we kind of covered this like a little bit earlier. So obviously you guys probably might not have any more like new opinions on it, but did you think it was fair that Tate was constantly trying to push the boundaries that Miles set and that she originally agreed to? In case it wasn't obvious from my earlier rant, my answer is no. No, I do not think it was fair. And yeah, severe lack of communication. And even when they did communicate, they somehow managed to convince each other to keep sleeping together when they clearly wanted different things.
Yeah, agreed. I had already gone onto that thing of no, it wasn't fair. And if that was what she wanted, then someone should have just communicated with him and told him that, even though she knew that it wasn't going to get there, because he had already told her, don't expect a future from me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Obviously, like I said earlier, it's not often in a romance book it's the female character that's driving me up the wall. But Tate just pissed me off in this book, to be honest.
Yeah.
And again, maybe it's like what some of you guys have brought up is the fact that the characterization was so superficial that like I didn't feel empathy for her. I was just like, girl, go over it.
Right.
Very easy answer. No. This is fair.
I think we all kind of agree that it wasn't fair.
Yeah. No, I think we kind of did cover that one earlier, so like it's not a major deal. So I will just chuck the next question at y'all whilst you're answering.
And then
Charlie. She's a whole adult in grad school with a job that demands a lot of responsibility. The fact she can't talk to him like an adult is crazy. I agree, Charlie. That is a great point. And Alex, I found it a little rude. She should have said that it's not what she wanted, because honestly, with Miles's trauma, pushing his limits could be very traumatic and hurtful. Also true. Like he really did have to be ready to deal with that in his own terms.
Yeah, but again, and I don't like Tate. She drives me nuts. But in the defense of her on that one, she didn't know why he was saying that. So, while I agree it was rude, if Miles would have just told her even a minuscule amount of what was going on, maybe she wouldn't have pushed it. And then maybe I would have liked her a little bit more.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I agree. She wasn't it for she really and I wanted to like her. I tried so hard, and honestly, it just didn't happen. But yeah, so the next question is obviously, be honest. Did the book make you cry, or did you at least get emotional? I covered this on the Discord when we were chatting about it. I did not cry. The scene with Miles's baby, obviously in the car accident, like I kind of said earlier as well, it had such little impact on me because I think of the way it was structured and the fact that by that point we knew obviously something was going to happen, unfortunately, to this baby. To be honest, the most emotional I actually got, I think, was probably Rachel's chapter. When we finally got to see Miles, I guess, open up and be I really want to love Tate, but I'm absolutely terrified. I didn't get emotional to the point of crying, but like that chapter for me had the biggest impact. And then I got all like happy at the end because I'm a hopeless romantic.
Yeah. So I didn't necessarily cry. I got a little teary-eyed at the beginning of the plane crash scene because I was thinking it was going to have this emotional impact. And then it didn't. And then I was like, my emotions are worked up for literally no reason. Like there was no point in me being upset. We don't know these people. But I agree. The ending, 10 out of 10, the ending saved it for me. I got very like, oh, that's so cute. Yeah. I'm so glad it worked out. But then I agree with the thing with Rachel. I disliked Rachel up to the point of her chapter, probably because I was just sick of reading about her and how on a pedestal she was and how great he thought that she was. And I didn't agree because I didn't have reason to agree. But then when she basically was like, I've moved on, I have a kid, you can move on. It is okay. You will feel better when you do. I was like, yes. Thank you. I appreciate you. And that was about the most emotion I got, was right towards the end.
Yeah, same. I agree. So Exy, okay, it got me emotional. It wasn't really because of the book itself, more because I was dreading what was going to happen with Rachel, and that made you think of personal stuff. That's fair enough. None of the things I was dreading ended up happening though, so we good. I'm glad. You didn't, Sydney didn't get emotional at all. I was hoping to, but it felt like reading a synopsis of events. I agree, it did. Like that, rather than an emotional account. I obviously mentioned earlier how like the poeticness of the chapter for the car crash just completely took me out of it rather than put me in it. So Alex, yeah, so obviously for you it did, but for the scene of the car accident, because of your own car accident that you had, the author explained it really well and it hit home. I'm glad, obviously, like not glad, but like I'm glad at least that the car, it was like covered, you think, in an accurate way, which is always good.
Well, and then I do want to say about Alexandra's. So we had messaged afterwards because I've also been in a couple of car accidents, but I think what was great for her was that the way that Colleen Hoover wrote it, she was able to finally kind of process what happened in her car accident because it was explained in a way that she didn't know how to explain it to other people. So I will say I got more emotional for Alexandra about that than the actual book because I was like, oh, that is like a fantastic thing to get out of the book.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. Anna, you never felt the emotions that Coho wanted you to feel, except for when we get to see Rachel with a good like, yeah, so that's the same as me. But otherwise nothing. I agree. Charlie, got to be honest, didn't get emotional. When I was reading, I was making guesses at what was going to happen, and what I imagined was a lot worse than a car crash, so it didn't really catch me off guard. See, like, yeah, like obviously we kind of all figured, I guess, that that somehow he was gonna lose this baby, because he obviously does not have like a kid. I must admit, I didn't expect Rachel to survive. I thought he would have lost both of them.
Yeah.
But I kind of loved that she did because it meant we got to have that scene with her in the present tense. And like I said, that's like when it did get like emotional for me. See, you and Alexander, you're just like, yes, I love that the book did that for you though. That's so great. I feel like Coho was too committed to the Miles chapter structure. Breaking that structure during the car crash chapter might have made it feel like Miles was finally losing the. Oh, that's clever. See, y'all can tell that Charlie went to like university to study this shit. Okay,
yeah.
Like there's a lot of words in there that I could not bring up myself, but you've got a point, Charlie. I agree. Yeah, I was glad though that when we got the present tense for Miles, it wasn't poetic. Because I'm like, I cannot be dealing with this in the present, except from right at the end, obviously.
Right.
I won't mention that now because I think it kind of comes up in a later question. So I won't mention it just yet. So there's only like a few more questions and they're pretty simple ones. So first of all, excuse the fact you can hear the seagulls in my house that are outside the window. So first of all, who was your favorite character mine's got to be Cap, because at this point he was the only redeeming quality. And every time I see him, I think of Stanley. So that just made it better for me.
Yeah, I agree. I loved Cap. I think what I really loved was finding out the end that, like, he actually has known Miles forever.
Like, I loved that both of them were speaking to Cap about the relationship as it went on. Like, I loved that.
And then I loved that he just pretended like he didn't know Miles and he didn't know what was going on.
Yes.
And it was the greatest thing. And I will say, Tate's redeeming factor for me, as much as I, was whatever, was her taking Cap's sandwiches.
Oh my God.
I was like, you know what? This is cute. I kind of like you for that, because that's so sweet.
Yeah. I think for Cap was my favorite, in that he was the only one there wasn't something about him I disliked.
Right.
So, I love this. Exie goes, nobody, well, actually Cap. He was the only character I didn't actively dislike.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think if I felt redeeming qualities in Tate.
Mine was just
I guess the only redeeming quality I can kind of feel for Tate was that, although it was completely wrong for the situation, at least I guess she had the fact that she stuck it out with Miles, I think obviously did help him in the long run. But, like, she was doing it for all the wrong reasons, so
right.
at all.
Right.
We've got some more Cap lovers here. You didn't hate Rachel either, but I only started to like her when we saw her in the present. That's fair. Yeah, I actually liked Rachel's character in the one chapter we got from her perspective.
Yeah, I agree.
Cap was definitely the funnest character. I agree. Didn't even have Sydney, that's comment of the discussion right there.
Yes,
that
right
also Bethany's from the start. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
So that leads nicely on to the second last question, which is, who was your least favorite? Mine was Tate. Which
Agreed.
is so bizarre for me, because she was the main female character, but nah.
Here's the thing. Okay, I get where you were like, the only person I like right now is Dylan. At least he's admittedly an asshole. Didn't like Dylan. Was shit. But if I had to pick a major character that, like, mattered, Tate was a no. Which also is probably why I didn't enjoy it so much, because I want my main characters. It's okay for you to not be likable, but I want to, that's not just you're being a horrible person, I know nothing about you, to be unlikable. She did not give me that.
Oh, sorry, we have some contra. Tate's your yeah, Charlie, you're gonna have to explain that one. I'm sorry, but you really are.
Yes, we'll have to come back to this, because I need to know why Tate is your favorite.
Oh, okay, hold on.
Oh, good.
Not because of how she's actually written, but because her inner monologue about Miles feels so obsessive at points that I started reading her like she was from a completely different planet from my entertainment.
Okay.
Do you know that the thing is, though, I did obviously mention this on the Discord, and there wasn't really a chance to mention it in the discussion questions, but I did actually like how obsessive Tate was, because I felt that was very realistic to, like, 24 to 26-year-old girl who really likes someone. Like, I felt attacked by the amount she was thinking about this boy, because I can relate.
Yeah.
But Alex says her least favorite was Dylan, the piece of poop. Do you know, that's something else, though. I also feel like, what was the point of his character, except for Miles to get jealous that one time?
Mm-hmm.
Like, why was there no exploration? Like, what? Like, why? What was his point?
Can we pause for a moment, and can I just say, because you said Dylan, and it reminded me of this. Tate's brother? No, thank you. I get being protective, but
see, but this is the thing.
Why did you punch your friend?
I have now read 3 books. I have now read 3 books in a row with an overprotective brother, and I'm like,
see, I don't have a brother. You do. Is this normal?
No, because this is the thing. I don't know if this is an Americanism or just like a romance genre thing, but my brother would never, ever, ever be all like, you can't date my sister. I mean, okay, I admit Miles is kind of a hard one because, like, that's his friend. I don't know what my brother would do in that situation. But, like, my brother would never be, like, vetting my boyfriends. Like, okay, admittedly, me and my brother aren't, like, super close. But, like, I've read 3 books in a row now where we've got an overprotective, like, older brother. And I don't vibe with it because it just doesn't feel, like, it doesn't feel real to me at all.
Agreed.
I don't know if it's an American thing, but... Like, nah. Doesn't
I would call it an American thing if you would have been, if you are with Tate, I'm going to break out my shotgun. Like, I
yeah,
an American
I was
thing.
like, oh,
but it's
okay.
so in between that I'm like, I don't have a brother, so maybe I'm just lost here.
No, it doesn't vibe for me personally. So Anna, your least favorite was a tie between Tate and her brother, because on the one hand, Tate is boring. Agreed. On the other, the bro was the annoying man protecting a female relative's purity. Yeah, see, this is also something that bothers me. Like, what really bothered me about... What was her brother even called?
I don't know. I'll find out. Hold on. Continue.
So what bothered me about her brother was the fact that he literally is out there sleeping with a bunch of different girls because he's, playing the field, fine. But you don't then get to say your sister doesn't get to sleep around if she doesn't want to.
His name is Corbin, by the way, so there you go. I knew it was bookmarked somewhere in here.
Yeah, so, like, I agree. Like, I didn't think it was fair that he supposedly was sleeping around, but, like, he got pissed off she was sleeping with one person. Like, she is 26 years old. Like, go away. Okay, so Exy's least favorite was Miles. He clearly showed his boundaries at first, but he was also just a dick and also manipulative at times. Going through trauma does not excuse shitty behavior. I am a firm believer in that. I am. I agree with that. But I guess for me, it's, like, tough because, yeah, he did set those boundaries to start with. So, yeah, that made him, like, more redeemable in my eyes. Tate's brother sucks. Like, girl, you do not own her. Stop acting like such a weirdo. Yes. Agreed. The thing is as well, I would understand it, I guess, if, like, maybe the parents weren't alive anymore and he, like, felt like he had to be, like, a dad and an older brother all rolled into one. But, like, that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Besides Cap, Tate would actually come in second for favorite only because I don't dislike her as much as the others. Hold on, sorry, I missed a comment. Yeah, fuck the brother, get the fuck out of here. She an adult, she can do whatever I love how we're all like, yes, this girl can sleep around if she wants to. Not that she was literally just, like, friends and benefits with one boy, but it's fine. Woman empowerment.
Yes.
There's also a difference between making sure the person your sister's with is a good guy and just being a dick and overprotective, fighting with Miles and ending a friendship. Nah. Yeah. I don't know, like, I did quite like the fact that when, like, they did have that argument, he was like to her, you're not a brother, you don't get to, like, say anything. I mean, yes, I think she got to say something, but I do guess, like, not that makes it right, but I don't know what the perspective is for brothers to sisters, so
yeah,
that's fair. Overprotective older brother feels very rooted in socially conservative worldview, same as overprotective father. Fair. Something that more common in the Bible Belt where I'm from, but it doesn't make sense to me. Corbin was so weird, but her dad wasn't. Yeah, the fact that dad walked in on them kissing and he was just like,
okay. Have that fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Honestly, I totally just, until you said that, forgot we ever even met her parents.
Yeah, they went to Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah. As for the boundaries, he clearly crossed his own boundaries a few times, but would get upset whenever Tate. Yeah, oh gosh, that's fair. I get that. Remember how Tate's brother thought Miles was gay the entire time he knew, and that was a weird detail.
It was, but it was so funny.
Yeah, that was kind of funny. I loved the fact that it came out at the Thanksgiving dinner when she had just made out with him in the bathroom and was, like, sat there thinking to herself, lol, well, he's not gay.
Yep.
The dad was just completely fine with it, had a normal reaction, which was honestly, yeah, like, I feel like I also agree with whoever said, like, it would have been more understandable if the dad had also been overprotective, because, like, you could have understood that, oh, he, like, kind of, he thought he had to do it because his dad was like that, but the dad was like, chill.
Sorry, I just saw what Steve's next comment was, and that's why I started giggling.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, this is true.
Well, the next comment's better.
Like, obviously I'm gay because I wasn't interested for like 2 months. Yeah, to be fair, I guess, yeah, he was all like, oh, but I feel like Corbin's that kind of stereotypically, not that I'm saying this is acceptable, but that stereotypical, like, sort of playboy pilot, like, oh, well, obviously if you're not, like, screwing every girl in whatever city they live in, that, yeah, you must be gay. Yes. See,
Yeah.
Charlie agrees with me. The dad was totally chill with it, and then Corbin's all like,
Yeah, he was losing it. I think he watched far too many movies that had an overprotective brother or father in it. It was just like, this is what I'm gonna do.
Yeah. Especially because the thing is, I would have totally understood it for the likes of Dylan, because, like, he knew Dylan cheated on his wife. Like, obviously, if you kind of take the wife out of the equation anyway, Dylan probably still was an asshole.
Yeah.
So, like, he kind of, like, I would have understood it if he'd been that protective over a guy like Dylan, but, like, Miles hadn't been with anyone for 6 years. Like, it's not like he was about, like, absolute, you know, playboy, like, sleeping with everyone he could, like, find.
Right.
Like, I feel like if anyone was gonna get with your sister, you'd want it to be the boy that hadn't slept with people for 6 years, you know?
Agreed.
But no. So this is the last question we have, and then obviously if y'all have any more opinions, like, feel free to share them after we've, like, talked about this question. Did you like how the book ended? I did.
Yes.
Because I am, in fact, a ridiculously hopeless romantic. So the fact that I forgot that Cap handed him 2 boxes, because it said plural boxes, and so he, like, presented the key, and I was like, okay, that's fair enough for an epilogue. Like, I'll take a move-in situation. But then he took out the other box, and I was like, oh, we know what's coming. And I was like, yes. I loved that. And that's what I live for in romance books. So I need a good epilogue can make or break my rating. And that probably boosted it from 3.5 to 3.75 for me, was the ending.
So I have to say, I marked not very many quotes in this. I did annotate, but most of it wasn't quotes. But my favorite thing was, whoever coined the phrase, I love you to death, obviously never experienced the kind of love Tate and I share. If that were the case, the phrase would be, I love you to life, because that's exactly what Tate did. She loved me back to life, the end. And that is when I got emotional, and I was like, oh my God, yes.
I highlighted that on my, like, my version as well, my Kindle. I was like, oh, that's so cute. I loved that.
And then, of course, I loved the epilogue, but I agree. Ending of the book was great. Because I don't like romance books that don't end with some sort of satisfying conclusion, because I'm a real big, like, enemies to lovers type book person, so I want all of my romance books to end with them actually getting together. So I loved it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I also liked the parallel they did between him, like, not waiting for her, but him being, like, passed out on her door at the start, versus him, like, he wasn't drunk, obviously, at this point,
but just sitting against her door.
Yeah, sitting against her door. And I liked that. The only thing I kind of didn't like about the ending was, I felt like with the Rachel chapter and then, like, him dealing with his stuff, I felt like you were kind of led to believe that this was his, like, final healing moment. So the fact that he still wasn't ready to tell Tate the, like, full story about Rachel and I can't remember what they what did they
I
decide to
have
call
no
him?
idea what the baby's name
It
was.
was like the teacher's name, like Carlton or something, was it?
I don't think it was Carlton, but continue. I'll find out for you.
It was something with a C. I swear there was so many C's.
I'm sure it's marked, so you do your thing. I'll see if I can.
Anyway, so like I feel like the fact that he was making his grand gesture, he showed up at her flat. He was very much like this, and he literally said to her, "This is me. Like, you know, I want to tell you about my past because I want to have a future with you." And then he did not tell her like fully what happened. He literally, obviously, the only thing was I had a son and he died 6 years ago, and the first like day I met you would have been his 6th birthday. Like, I feel like that was the moment for him to come clean about everything, and he didn't do it. Clayton.
There you go.
Not Carlton. I was close.
You were close. You had
two very American sounding names that you really would not get here in the UK.
Here's the thing. I will say, I don't know. I think what I also thought about the ending of it was that he was still in that epilogue. He was still not sure if he was going to be able to love this kid that they were having because of everything. And then like
heartbreaking.
Yes. And then when he looked at her like he could, and I was like, okay, I can feel like the last 2 chapters of this, last chapter in the epilogue, you got me. Colleen Hoover. It's a little emotional over here.
I was like, but the thing is though, I also felt like, I guess in a little way it was a little bit unnecessary because we were all like, obviously he's gonna feel emotion when he sees his daughter for the first time. Like, come on. But like, no, I agree. I love an epilogue where you get like a time jump, so you like see the like happily ever after. I'm such a sucker for like, did they get married? Did they have kids? Like, what happened? So that was good for me.
Agreed.
Anyway, what did people say? Alex, perfect ending because you are also romantic and you thought it was the cutest. Agreed. Anna, I'm a hopeless romantic too, but one phrase, I didn't fall in love with you, I flew. It just felt like good thing after good thing, and it felt like too much. I really would have liked a move in only. That's fair. I feel like asking someone to move in with you at the 6-month mark and asking them to marry you is, I guess, a lot. And Sydney agrees. Sydney personally would have been happier if it just been, because I guess the thing, okay, so I loved the proposal because that's who I be, but because we had the epilogue where we find out they did get married and have a kid, I guess we kind of didn't need the proposal because like you find out they get married and have a kid. So I guess like tit for tat, but I'm not gonna lie, like, see for the I flew, I was a bit like, okay, like this is cheesy as hell, but my heart was like, oh, that's kind of cute. I was like, the little pilot saying he flew in love with her, and like, didn't make grammatical sense, but it was cute.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. The ending isn't too shitty. Actually, I love this. 2 shitty people got together. Yes, I'm glad Miles accepted love again, but just didn't care enough about the characters to care about the ending. Yeah, so Anna, you're saying the epilogue was a flash forward to them being sappy in the living, and then a proposal. Yeah, fair. Actually, I'm too cynical. The ending was too happy, which just made it unrealistic and annoying. Life doesn't go this way. But this is why we read romance books, because we know that life doesn't go this way, but we want to pretend it does.
Also,
so we don't lose hope.
Also, can I just say, well, I agree, you know, life doesn't always go that way and we need hope. Sometimes some people do some things that are definitely romance book and romance movie worthy. And the whole time you're like, why is this my life right now? I've only read this in a book.
Yeah. No. And I guess the thing is, like, all of these cliches come from somewhere.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. I guess, like, some mixed feelings on the ending. For me, like, I think we can all kind of agree that it sort of, I guess, lacked in the sort of middle, because like it was just very superficial.
Yeah. Agreed.
You lost hope. I mean mood. Exy. Mood.
Yeah, mood.
But does anyone else have any other opinions that weren't covered by the questions? There obviously is a little bit of a lag, so I'll just like give y'all time to let me know if like yes or no, if there was other opinions that weren't covered by the question.
Or if you have any other questions that everyone can answer.
Yeah.
Because again, Ellie and I just kind of came up with some questions. I did do a little bit of like deep diving back into like the way beginning of the month on the Discord to try to pick some things that people weren't talking about a lot. But
yeah. And just heads up whilst we wait to find out. In case anyone doesn't know, we are reading Mismatch. I have a copy here. Hold on. Transporting myself. Oh gosh, hold on. This is going to fail. I'm going to smash things. Bear with me, lads.
I also forgot my copy in my room, so I, unlike with Ugly Love, did not have it to just immediately put up on the screen.
Okay, so in September for our romance, we are reading The Mismatch by Sarah Jafari, and it's out obviously in America and the UK, paperback, and the Kindle version is available in the Discord. There's a link to it. So that's our September book, which I'm very excited about because I actually got sent this as an ARC that I unfortunately didn't get to read because of some things that happened in like my personal life, but everyone who was on the book tour like gave it at least like 4 or 5 stars, so I'm hoping I really enjoy it as well. And I'm scared that Exie is thinking about.
I know, you never know what's going to come from that.
But no, I think like overall for like a first book, I did enjoy it, and you know you can get better now, so that's fine. Like it'd be terrible if it started on a 5-star because you can only go downhill.
That's the truth. And I will say, even though I think it was a mixed bag, I think, some people really hated it, some people really liked it, and I think a overwhelming majority of us were kind of in the middle. It at least was a book that gave a lot of good discussion, I feel like, which is really what I was aiming for, was something we could actually talk about that wasn't just like, oh yes, we all loved it, we all hated it, it was trash, or it was great.
Oh, this is good. You think it's a great book club, but it's so much to talk about, even if a lot of us didn't like it. I agree. I think, yeah, it's like, I would actually, and that's the thing, I guess, like, obviously having read that book, like, do y'all want to, like, do you think y'all will read another Colleen Hoover? Because I definitely think I will.
Mm-hmm.
I think the one meant to be, like, the most emotionally damaging is It Ends With Us, I think.
So, we'll let you know, because I'm pretty sure It Ends With Us is on my TBR for September. So, I might be wrong. Stasia sent me a Colleen Hoover in the box of books that she sent me, and I think that was it, but I could be wrong. It is, in fact, It Ends With Us. So,
well, all I know is my friend bought it the other day, and she started reading it, and she just went, and she sent it to me, and she was like, "Oh, I'm reading this. Do you know anything about it?" And when all I know is most people cry, and I think she got like 20 pages in. She's like, "Oh God, I'm gonna be heartbroken. I can tell."
Right. Hey. Now, I need you to go and put XC's up first, his very last one, so I can comment on this. We did not skip it. We just maybe didn't pop it up, but we both said we were a little concerned that you were thinking.
Oh, well, I was going to say, yeah. I feel, here's one. There we go. Yeah, I don't hate it. Exie. Now, for anyone who does not know, Exie really does not like these 2 books, Foul is Fair and All the Bright Places.
Yeah.
It's not living in my head rent-free. That's fair. But definitely won't read. Oh, okay. Oofed.
But to be fair, okay, Exie doesn't like romance in the first place, but here's my question, Exie. So she has a book called Verity, which is a romantic thriller.
I'm excited to read.
After we get off of this, I have opinions for you, Ellie, because I agree. But would you be interested in reading that by Colleen Hoover, since it's not straight up a romance? And I feel like maybe I'm wrong, but I feel like you like those.
It's like thrillery, I think.
Yeah, apparently it's very dark. It's very thrillery.
Toward what it's more like.
Yeah.
She's read it. Charlie, you didn't like this book, but you had fun reading it when you started reading Tate's chapters in Quality. We love that.
Yes.
We love that. I would read another Colleen Hoover. This took me on like 2 days. So yeah, that's true. Like, to be fair, as soon as I started reading it, I might not necessarily have been like directly hooked to the characters or anything, but like it kind of kept me going. Like I wanted to keep reading it, like, and read it quickly. Like, it read quickly for me.
Yeah, I think I read it in like 8 hours.
Yeah, you like like, I think it was Sydney was the first person to read it, and like we got one message the day before, like, I'm starting this, and then okay, I finished it.
Yep. Well, and the thing is with this one is, I mean, as you know, Ellie, it's only what 324 pages.
Yeah,
I don't have a lot of time to read, so I like bust out a 300-page book in one day off a week if I'm going to read anything.
I literally did that today with another book I was reading.
Yeah. And that's the thing is, like, I wasn't usually have to be invested in the book to do that. Like, I finished Emergency Contact in a day, but I was invested in it. This one, not so much, but it at least read easy, which is why I could read it that fast.
XC, so obviously we asked like about the not reading another Colleen Hoover. You're not sure this book didn't have any redeemable parts outside of the romance either. Didn't like the writing style. I do think, I must admit, it's strange all the hype that it has. I'm surprised I hadn't heard that Miles's chapters were written in the style that they were.
Yeah.
But no, I definitely want to read your other books. And like I said, I think Verity is just supposed to be like, pew, like out there.
Yeah.
So I have that one. I got gifted that this year. So I think I want to read that one.
Yeah. I'm very excited for that one.
But does anyone have any other questions then or comments? If not, I will just end the broadcast. Obviously, I would just like to say thank you everyone for coming.
Yes.
And thank you for reading the book. I hope you're all looking forward to September's book. And I can't wait to like discuss it with you all as well.
Yes. And then I also, thank you. This book club was a slightly harebrained idea that Ellie and I had, and then I roped Ellie into very quickly. And I was like, hey, could you do this for me? And she goes, yeah. And then I was like, actually, you know what? Here, you're just gonna actually we're gonna do this together because this is just how this is doing now. So I think it was a great first, discussion, especially that it's been an hour and a half. I wasn't really sure how long everyone was going to want to discuss for. But if you have opinions on like how we did the discussion or anything like that, you have suggestions for next month, if you don't feel comfortable leaving them here, you can always shoot one of us a message on Discord, or put it wherever in Discord. That way we can see it and we can kind of take that into account to make this, kind of either A, more enjoyable, but I think we all enjoyed it, or B, just make this easier for everyone to do.
Yeah. Also, like, time-wise, we can do it like slightly later if it works like better for people to do it slightly later. It's just because obviously I'm in like the UK, it is already like 20 to 9 for me. And obviously it being a Sunday, I have work tomorrow. But like if there's a slightly later time that would work better for y'all, just like holler at us and we can adjust the time as well.
Mm-hmm. Or if we can all agree if there's a different day that might work better than Sundays, because I know Sundays are like super quiet on our Discord, but the rest of the week is sometimes chaotic. Then we can also see if we can adjust that way. Thankfully, I make the schedule at my job, so I can schedule around what's needed.
Yeah. But no, okay, so I think I'm gonna just end the broadcast then. Oh.
I won't make it Saturdays XC, don't worry.
We will try. Usually Kaylin's not off on a Saturday, so that's fine.
I get one Saturday, 1 week in a month, and that is why that's part of the reason why we do the 12 and 24s on Saturday, Sunday, because that's the 2 days everyone said they were available, but also because I can actually run them then.
Yeah. But no, so yeah, just thank you guys. Gonna end the broadcast. And we'll see you on the Discord. And thanks for joining us.
Bye everyone.